All right, everybody. Thanks for subscribing and following along on YouTube. I've got another interview. I'm excited. Brandon Black reached out. He wanted to sit down and talk with me about how he uses logos in his studies, and we'll give some context before we get rolling. I'll have him introduce himself and what he's up to. But I did want to say beforehand, I just wanted to say thank you so much for subscribing and following along. I feel like there's so many people who have commented, and I was just telling Brandon this actually, that say that the interviews that I've been having helps to remove intimidation, helps to inspire new use cases in the application, and allows people to just dig deeper into the word. And so that's the intention here. That's why I do what I do with these interviews. So I really appreciate you following along, asking questions in the comments, and just being a part of this whole journey. So keep asking the questions. I'll keep interviewing other Logos users, and we'll just keep learning about God's word together. So Brandon, thank you for being here. I'm really excited to dig in. We just talked about some of the things that we're going to be journeying through together. But before we do, why don't you say hello, let everybody know what you're up to, give a little bit of context to how you use the software in your ministry and your schoolwork.
All right, great. Yeah, my name is Brandon Black. I'm just a regular guy, but I know like you see videos, right? You think like, oh man, they're like, like really whatever. But I just start off like everybody else, right? And I've been
Yeah.
using Logos for a while, like probably like 8 years. And so I pastor home church, and I teach mostly. I'm not a big as much people think about preaching and stuff with pastors, but really I'm more focused on teaching, and I teach other things as well. But I'm also a student in school and been working through various degrees, but working on a PhD. So Logos has been more than beneficial
Mm-hmm.
for all of these things. It's helped me in ways that I would never have been able to learn the things that I've learned and perform the way I need to without this software. I got started with it. I was already using other software that was free and using like internet resources, which are great, especially if you're starting off and you kind of have no idea what you're doing. But I remember I heard Dr. Heiser mention Logos, and he's using it, and he's like, if you need to use this. I'm like, well, that's enough for me. Like he
Yeah.
said I should use this, and he is like up there doing all this great stuff. So I like got into it and started using it, and just decided, I need to figure this out.
Yeah.
And so it's been great, and I mean that's what I do. Like I said, I teach a few classes sometimes here and there, working through class and teaching every week for our congregation, and that's me.
Yeah. Can you say something to the schooling that you're in right now? Would you want to mention that?
Oh, sure, sure. Yeah. So I go to Liberty University. I did a bachelor's, finished a bachelor's there, and biblical studies. Then did a master's in theological studies and moved on to a PhD in Bible exposition. And I'm going to be done with that this year. I'm got a wife and kids and like other stuff going on, and so I go half time. Some of those people I see, they're like, I'm a full-time whatever, and I'm a full-time student. I'm like, I can't do that. It's amazing when I see people like that,
Yeah.
but that's okay. So, yeah, I go to Liberty, and using this for school has been like instrumental in me being able to perform.
Mm-hmm.
I When I first started finishing off the bachelor's degree, because I had other stuff before that, so I just wanted to get the biblical studies. When I started doing that, I may have had Logos and maybe didn't know how to use it, or like was just kind of getting into
Yeah.
it and just trying to figure things out. But I was, and I still do some of this old school. This is like what I consider like old school stuff to me. Like I still like download PDFs, and I still like go
That's
onto
old school.
websites that the school has, that our library has access to, and like
Mm-hmm.
peruse things on there. And I'll go to other websites and look up stuff and download things, and all that kind of stuff, because you kind of have to, um especially when you get kind of beyond just the generalized thing, and you want to get more specific things.
Mm-hmm.
you got to be able to branch out because as great as Logos is, it doesn't have every book in the world or every article that's ever been printed. So you still have to do some of that stuff. But
Yeah.
I was only doing that stuff, and it takes a lot of time.
Right.
I mean, thankfully, there's some other tools out there that speed it up now that we didn't have when I was doing that. But with Logos, I have like a journal subscription, which is great. Anybody who is really cheap too, like anybody can afford that. It's not expensive. And but you
You
want
have
me to
that.
tell about
You have
the
do you have a journal just subscription inside of Logos or no? Is
yes,
that separate?
yes,
Is
inside
that
of Logos.
Galaxy?
Yes, the
Okay.
Galaxy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of journal articles. Now there's a lot I don't have as well that you have to buy.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, and I have the Max, the new Max subscription, like whatever it is. I started off incremental, and I recommend that for everybody. Like, don't just jump into like the highest thing. Learn as you go, and get more and more.
Yeah.
Get the free resources that are out there. I've been using it for a while, so like they have free stuff every month, and that's
Right.
great. And then get things that you need when they're on sale. That's another great thing to do because if I had bought everything at the full price, I'd spend a whole lot more than I did.
Right.
And also, being a student, if you're a student, you can get a discount on some things. So those are all things like people don't really know when they're getting into it. But you
Yeah.
just got to be wise about using your resources, and
Yeah.
getting the things
Absolutely.
that you need. Because a lot of people are like, oh, well, look at all this stuff, and I'm like, like sometimes like see new people, and they're like, we kind of like slow down and like let's think about the things that you're gonna need, and generally that's what I do. There are things that I kind of have on a list, and it's like, well, how many times am I going to click on a link or look at something that's referenced and be like, oh, I don't have that resource. Okay, I guess I should get that one
Yeah.
if I
If it
if
keeps
I'm like
popping
hitting
up.
it multiple times, right? Yeah, if it keeps coming
Mm-hmm.
up, then I'm like, I definitely need to get that resource. So yeah, but getting the Max subscription is going to give you a lot of resources, and so there's just a lot of things you can do with it, and
Absolutely.
yeah, so
So the Liberty, you're at Liberty doing schooling, and then you're also teaching regularly. So we'll dig into a couple of different ways that you're using logos for those particular contexts. And if you're ready, like this is a good time, probably just hop in and start sharing the screen. Because
okay,
there's a handful of things that we want to cover. You can start doing that while I set the stage a little bit. So I know that there are two different areas that we wanted to cover, and one is the passage guide or basic process for you studying passages of scripture. And then the other would be some of the new features around AI, especially smart search. In smart search next to or alongside of the precise search, and then maybe even the summarize feature a little bit as well. So I was going to
okay,
say too, before we hop in and you take over, I put you in the hot seat, the academic discount, I'll make sure that I put a link for that in the description of this video as well, so that anybody who's a student can go and learn more and apply for academic discount too. Yeah. Yeah, we're good to go. I think I'm going to hand the baton off to you
all right,
for.
okay, all right. So I'm gonna start with just generally the way I approach scripture and doing a study. So I have Ezekiel chapter 1 opened because I recently did a study on this. So I have a whole lot of things going on here, and you can see kind of on the screen right here. You can see different highlights, you can see little note icons, different words and how they're done here. And these are just things I did as I was going through it. So first I have both my English Bible and my Hebrew here. And so there's a way to do that, and this is new, so I can't remember how I set it up originally and how it is now. But anyway, you should definitely, if you want to start doing a word study, you got to get into the Hebrew and the Greek, and you don't
What
have
that's
to.
called, Brandon, real quick, what that's called
Yeah,
is parallel resource, I
there we
believe.
go.
And
Yeah, and
so, yeah, you'll find that in the dynamic toolbar
it's
there.
it's somewhere
And
up here.
yeah, and I can put a note
Yeah.
to that as well in the
Okay.
description. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
keep rolling.
So this is you don't have to know Hebrew and Greek. And that's the thing, like Hebrew and Greek is kind of scary for a lot of people. Um, I think one of the main reasons it's scary is because you look at this script right here and you have no idea what it is. So I started doing this before I had any formal training in Hebrew and Greek. And so anybody, I know from my own experience that anybody can do this. But I do have formal training now, so it's a lot easier for me to look at it and be able to figure things out without as much work as I have done in the past. But this is where I start, and normally it's a blank slate. Normally it looks more like this, which has a couple things that are, but those are this different. So I have my preferred Bible uh, for my English because I like this version. But there's a lot of good ones out there. And so I want to go through and find out everything that's going on in this passage. Now, if you're just starting, you may want to look at things like verse 4 here. As I looked, behold, a storm wind was coming from the north, a great cloud with fire flashing forth continually, and a bright light around it, and in its midst something like glowing metal in the midst of the fire. And so you might be like, oh, what's going on here with the glowing metal, the fire, the bright light? And you can click on words, right click, and you're going to get a menu. And it's set up pretty easy. The selection right here shows that I clicked on glowing, right? And so that's my selection. Well, it's going to tell me what the Hebrew is that matches that. Now, I have the Hebrew over here, but if you're not familiar with the Hebrew, you're going to have a hard time. You might have to click here and look at this and then go over here and match it up. You can likewise click on a Hebrew word and say you don't know what this word is. Well, let me click. Oh, okay. And it's going to tell me right here. Sabib means surroundings or vicinity or neighborhood or circuit or on all sides, neighboring. The root word, this little check mark, means the root, okay? So the Hebrew root is usually going to be a 3-letter root to go in a circle, to surround, to turn, or change. So this is kind of like the general idea for the word. Oh, so what did that match up with here? What do we have going on here? Well, it's not that one. Round it. There we go. Around it. So I can click there, but let's click right here. Let's see what glowing is. Okay, because this is a fun one. Glowing. It has the article. Okay, so that's what the little first one has, the article for the hay. And then we have ḥašmāl. ḥašmāl. Okay. And you have a little thing right here. I'm gonna see, click on that. Nope. Oh, I'd have to do it from over here. So I can click on one of the cool things you can do here is why doesn't it have normally it has a pronunciation thing, but I must have clicked on something wrong. Um There we go. There we go. So you can click on pronounce. Oh, okay. So now I know how to say it. I'm not going to say it like as well as I should because I'm American. But so glowing metal. Well, what does it say right here? And you can see part of it, but when you hover over it, it's going to show you more stuff. It's going to say a bluish stone. Well, how did they get glowing, right? White gold, precious Yellowstone, brass inlay work. Okay, so now I'm intrigued. Okay, so what I'm normally going to do for myself is I'm going to translate stuff as I go along. And let me open my little note. This is where I translated, okay? And so as I'm going along and I'm translating, because as I teach, I want to translate and go work through the actual Hebrew or the Greek. And so, and also for my studies, if I'm looking at a passage, I need to be looking at the Hebrew or the Greek, and I'm translating, and then I come across a word that's like interesting. Okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
let me click on this little thing right here, and click on Bible Word Study. Okay, because this is where we need to go. This is interesting. The words that it's given me do not match my English version. So let's go over here and click on a Bible Word Study. And it's going to give me the basic meaning up here. And then it's going to give me the times that it is used right here 3 times in the Bible. And you can see where it's used. They're all going to be in Ezekiel. And then you can click on it. You can see that it's translated 3 different ways each time. One's metal, one's glowing metal, and one's glowing. So you can see that they're all kind of similar. You can click on one and see one thing, or you can click on the middle and see everything. I'm typically looking at all this stuff. The other great thing that you can do is, which I have another translation set up for the Septuagint right here, and you can see that it's got one word that's being used for it in the Septuagint in all 3 passages. Now that's not like that for every word. So different words are going to have, let me get this one. This is a good one. Different words are going to have different things. So here's all the times that this word, kanaf, is translated, wings mostly, but then you can see all these other words in English that is translated as. Well, if you go to the Septuagint, well, now we have like so many things. So many things. Again, I'm working with the languages, so this is something that I want to see because I want to understand how they translated it and how they were reading it in the first century. And so sometimes I'm going to access that. But let's go back to this. Here I have a lot of the resources that I use. And you can see I have this set up into 4 sections. And this is generally the way I'm going to be using my Logos. I have these main 4 sections here. I'm using this section right here. I think setup's important. I'm using this section right here for searches and kind of more personal things, word studies, searches, clippings, bibliographies, a lot of different things like that. I'm using this section right here. I have my Bible right here. I've got English rendering of the Septuagint right here, along with the Greek. And then I've got books that I'm using for my class up here as well, and then some other things, some other random things that come up here. The bottom left I use for all of my reference works. Okay, these are dictionaries, encyclopedias, and things of that nature. And then my bottom right is usually other source resources that I'm using in connection to whatever I'm studying, that I've opened, and they have something that's helpful for what I'm studying. But this right here, all of these right here, I'm going to click on more, and you're going to see a whole bunch of things. There we go. So these are all the options that I have for all the reference works that I own that talk about this word. And you can go to BDB. I can just click right here, and it's going to open that in BDB. And it's going to show, give me some information. Most brilliant amalgam of gold and silver. And so that's what we had from the Septuagint right there. I know this because I've already looked at it before. Some shining substance. So it's a shining substance. Well, I don't know what that means. Let's go to this one. Let's see if they have something there. Nope, they don't have. If they don't have stuff written here, then they usually don't have information on it. Brass that's made smooth, and then it's got a whole lot of other information. So I'm learning about this as I'm going. Let's see. I was looking for TDOT. Here, I'll click on this one. So here we go. This has a lot of information, and it's going to tell me, kind of some stuff. Okay, well, glowing metal, I guess that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and close this word study. And so what did I write here? I wrote amber or electrum. Okay, as what I was, from what I concluded, it seemed like amber was maybe the best option, an electrum being the second best. But okay, what's this thing right here? Something, like the eye of amber. Well, eye's not in here, right? And if we go into the Hebrew, right here, like an eye, well, or an appearance. I chose
Mhm.
eye for certain reasons because I've researched this word before, and I wanted to make sure it showed up in my version of it so that I know the significance of it. Okay, and plus what I'm studying here, because this is a really weird passage and it's got a lot of interesting things in it. It sounds weird in English and it sounds even weirder when you read it in Hebrew. So something like an eye of amber, in the Hebrew word for eye, they use that various ways too. Uh, you see, oh, all these different ways. An eye or sight or a spring or a fountain,
Mhm.
all these different things. So it's very, I, this is a weird passage. Okay, I'll be honest with you. Um, and so we got other words here that I looked up. North, coming from the north. A storm wind was coming from the north. Now let's see if I want to see what. Here we go. All right, so I wanted to pull this one up because one of my references is DDD, which is great. I love it. It's got interesting stuff in it. And well, why does DDD have a passage on north? The word north. Okay, well let me look this up. And so I click on it and Zaphon. Okay, I did not know anything about this, but what is Zaphon? Some special, and it says, and in a special sense designating a divine mountain, sometimes used as a synonym for Mount Zion. Okay, identified with a certain mountain, Jebel al-Akra, in Ugaritic text. Okay, so I learned all these different, a divine abode. Huh, I never heard any of this stuff. Now, of course, I
Mhm.
also came across this information by another scholar, Meredith Klein, talking about this. And so, I got really intrigued and started looking up more of this. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my translation as I was looking at this and behold a gale wind of a storm coming from Zaphon or from the north. Um, a great cloud of fire entwined. This idea, um, here it says flashing forth continually,
Mhm.
but giving me the idea that it's entwined and grasping and stuff. It's like, man, this is like some crazy stuff going on. Um, right, and so this is just how I would typically start addressing it. Now, one of the really cool things, let me get all the way over to where my stuff is. So, okay, so this is just I'm trying to translate, but then I'm also as I'm translating, nope, that's the wrong one. So I've got the passage guide tool open, and this is great. I was doing a lot of work before I found out that there was a passage guide. And so the passage guide is really great. It, interesting stuff. It has my content on it. Oh, what did I write on this? Do I have stuff? Okay, so I've got some things going on that it's I've got clippings here that reference this, and I certainly do. I have that open somewhere. Things that I've information I've taken, put in a clipping and into a note. Basically, it's like a note card. So let's go to that. Let's see if I can go to that clipping document. This is not going to take me as oh there we go. Okay, so here's
Mhm.
my clippings, right? Oh, okay, so this is just like the old school way of writing note cards. When I was in high school, and I remember they were like, always take note cards and do it this way, and then write all your notes on a note card. Oh boy, I hated doing that. Guess what? I don't have
Here
to
they
do that
are. They're
anymore.
back.
Do what?
They're back.
Oh, they're
Note cards
back.
are back.
Well, this is really great because I can just take something that if I think this is important, I can just select it here. Let me select the whole thing. I'm like, oh, man, this is important. Well, I can select it. I can choose a highlight tool. Now I have the ones up here that I'm using often, okay? And I've purposely chosen to use highlights for different reasons. So I have
Mm-hmm.
yellow, right? I use yellow for general purpose highlighting. This is important. I want to come back to it. I use this blocky blue stuff because one of my focus points is Hebraic cosmology. So anything that has to do with that, I'm going to put in this blocky blue thing because that reminds me of the sky. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, like you can see right here, I have this in the blocky blue thing, right? Because it's talking about the divine mountain. And so that's and then I have this like over here. I use this one for a class I was teaching on biblical beast. So anytime I come across like creaturey things that I think are interesting, I'll highlight it
Hmm.
with that, right? Um, and then I don't know. I have a couple others that I've used. These are going to be the most recently ones you've used.
Yeah.
I usually have bold up here because I like to bold things sometimes so that I can see it. But anyway, this is going to pop up and so here's a couple things. So first, I'm going to put it, I'm going to select this. I'm going to put it over here in my notebook because, oh, that was important. I want to have it in my note cards. Okay. That way, later when I'm going over my stuff, I can just scan through my note cards and I can look at things. And then one of the cool things is even if I've closed this resource out, let me just close it real quick. I can click right here and it's going to open it for me right to where I was. Like, great. And it's also handy if you highlight it as well as put it here. That way you're like, I don't know what I'm looking at
Yeah.
when it opens. But so there's that. That's great. Another great thing is
Is
the
there
bibli
before
Yes.
you hop forward, I was wondering, is there a way to view your clippings in that resource that you have? Do you know what I mean? Like, is there a formatting or view, like a visual filter of some kind to view your clippings, or like there is for
I
Factbook? Yeah.
wish there were. But what you can do is let me just highlight this, even though it's not important. And I'll probably
Mm-hmm.
see it later and be like, why did I highlight that? What you can do is go to view. Nope. What is it under? I gotta figure it out. Go to contents. Nope. They changed stuff, some time back, like last fall, and
That new toolbar. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for the thing that I think it's under view, that I can see my highlights.
Yeah, can you do formatting?
Notes. Notes.
Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Highlighting. Nope,
Good to
that's the
go.
wrong thing. That's not it. Uh, you can edit all this out because I'm stumbling around.
Is it
Notes
show notes and
filter.
highlights right
Notes
there?
filter. Okay, here we
Okay,
go. All right. So
there you go.
yeah, so what I'm wanting to do is go to my notes filter. And now, while I can't see anything that I've put over here, if I have highlighted this in any or put any sort of markup on it in any way, if you go to notes and click on notes filter, you can go right here and see the different things that you've done. So
Mm-hmm.
it may be like I've used this resource a lot and I want
Yeah.
to see the things that I just did. So let me get like if I'm over here in this, I've used this resource a lot. Let me close the table of contents and I want to see things. Well, this isn't even showing me. It doesn't show me all the same ones for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, well, forget that. Anyway, but if there's so like it says like last 7 days or last 30 days. So like if I'm writing a paper, I may want to see the stuff I've been working on in this class, right? So I
Yeah.
can click on last 30 days and it'll only show me the ones that I've marked up for the last 30 days, which is handy.
Yeah. I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes it'll be like, yeah, I'll have like tons of things, or maybe like, especially in the journals, this is a journal. I may be using one article in it, but I've used like two or three other articles in the journal, same journal from other times. And so I don't really want to I don't want to see those. I only want to see from right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can also click on highlights and just see all your highlights. that you've
That's
made.
how you do it. Okay.
Yeah, right there. So click on the highlights and you can see all the highlights that you've made. And so I guess
Yeah.
this is an old highlight. God and Leviathan. Yep. So this was me probably when I was doing some study on Leviathan. I don't know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But then it's like, oh, I don't want Leviathan, right? So then there we go. That's what I want. Last 7 days. Um, I want the thing that I
Yeah.
just had. And so
That
that's,
notes filter, I didn't even realize that.
oh
How
yeah, yeah.
cool how
It's
cool to
super
use that.
handy. Like so like I can go up here. You can even do it here, right? On the Bible.
Yeah. That's what I actually just opened up my Bible and I was like, well, that is overwhelming. But you
Yeah.
have all the filters that you
Yeah.
can drill down a little bit further and a little bit further and a little bit further. And you could even do the
Yep.
last 7 days if you wanted to. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
I
really,
can click on Genesis. Bam. There we go. There's my notes in Genesis. Every verse that I've made a note
interesting.
on in
Yeah.
Genesis, I can see automatically, right? And
Yeah.
yeah. So
Well, do you want to jump to, unless there's anything more in the Bible word area or
uh,
the original languages? I was going to say we wanted to
I
make sure we
wanted
had time for search as well. But go
okay.
ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to do so I showed passage guide.
Yeah.
Well, where is it? It's way over here. This little toolbar is one thing I don't like about Logos.
I think this is a very good, yeah, it's a very good point. Once you get rolling and you've got all sorts of research going at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, so passage guide commentaries is show you this is handy, right? For looking up
Mm-hmm.
commentaries. And there's different types of commentaries. I'm going to be like on exegetical probably. And so it showed me all the different ones that talk about Ezekiel. That's really handy to see. Um, or expositional. Study Bibles is also handy. I'll be honest, study Bibles are great. Don't discount study Bibles. They have a lot of good
Yeah.
information in them, and they're usually summarized. And so it's really easy to see something in there, and then maybe you can look up more information. This will have journals. Now, this isn't the best way to find journals on your passage, but that's okay. Let me do now that I hit that though. We can go on to journals, and I'll show you how to do some different searches. Because I have so many, all these little up here are searches that I've got going for different things. All right. So note as clippings, bibliography. I did want to also mention about bibliography. Every time I put something in my notes, I want to take the same thing and I'm just going to select part of it here and drag it over to my bibliography. Now, this is great for school, okay? Because you can spend a lot of time doing citations and doing bibliographies. It takes up a lot of time if you're in class, especially if you've got papers where you're using 20 or 30 different resources. And so I just drop it right in the bibliography. And there's one downside to using journals is it only takes the page that you're on in a journal.
Mm.
But if I'm going to use a book, so I'll just select that and throw that there, it'll have the bibliography entry for the book. And here's a bibliography that I've got going. This is just kind of a sample of stuff I've been using. So I can take this right here, right click on it, click copy, and then just paste it right in my bibliography, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
done. I'm done. That's all. Even better than that, I can click right up here on sort, and it puts everything in alphabetical order. I'm going to go up here and click on export. It's going to open this thing to print or export. I got to check that so I don't have the excess stuff. And then click copy to clipboard.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just going to go right over here where I was, start a new line, and then paste. There's my
Yeah.
whole bibliography. Now, you still need to look at it sometimes and do different things. I'm like, oh, I've got the same guy here. I'm going to have to format this one a little bit.
Yep.
But I just copy the entire bibliography, and usually that's it. Usually I'm done once I do that. Another thing that you're going to want to do as a student is get citations. So if I'm here and I'm responding to this topic that I need to respond to, and I'm just typing words. Okay, I've typed what I want to type, but I need to source what I just typed, right? So this is where I'm sourcing from. Now you have to select a certain number of characters, and it's something about this big. I don't know what the right number is, but here's, and there may be a better way of doing this that I haven't figured out. I'll go ahead and tell you that. But this is the way that I found that works easy for me. I'll select a certain number of characters from the page that I'm on for the thing that I'm sourcing, and I'll go over here and I click paste, and then I'm going to delete all the words that are there, and it leaves me with a citation. But what if I want to quote this whole thing? If I want to quote this whole sentence, right, then I can just copy it and put some quotes there and paste, and there we go. Right? So I've just, put a quote in there from the source. I don't have to worry about mistyping something because, I'm trying to look at something and type it. It's there and it's done, and the citation is there. And the only thing I have to do is make sure my citations match the format because it's going to
Yeah.
copy it in this format, unfortunately. But it's done and it's easy. So if you're doing classes, this is how Logos gets me through, like saves me so much time. Not, we're going to get into more time saving things with searches. And so here's some searches that I got going on. As I am responding to my prompt for my class, we're talking about the book of Acts and how Christianity is related to Judaism, right? And so I gave it a question. I'm using the smart search, and let me go all the way to the top here. So I'm just going to start it over as if I'm doing it brand new. I type in a question, okay? You can use the all feature, but normally that's not the best thing to do. Normally the best thing to do is look in books.
And why do you say that? Why is it not the
Okay,
best?
so because all is going to look in all of Logos software. So I can do it in all, and here's what it's going to give me. It takes it a second to do it. But you see these little locks right here. Oh, I don't own that book. Okay. It's helpful sometimes because then you can find stuff that you don't have access to and is going to give you information that's helpful. Okay.
Yeah.
You can be like, oh, okay. Well, I like what he had to say there. I don't even think I can copy that. Oh, maybe I can. Let's see if that works for me. Let's see. I'm trying something new. Nope, it didn't do anything. It copied it just like it was.
Yeah.
But so, okay, it can give me information that I don't already have access to. And, maybe I go, man, this is a cool looking book. First century Judaism, the emergence of Christianity. Let me check that book out. And I can click here and go, oh, that's a $20 book. It's not really on sale right now. Maybe not, but maybe it is something I want to buy, right? And look, it's telling me it's in this portfolio too. Yeah, I don't have that kind of money to buy a portfolio right now. I'm a poor
On the
college
fly.
student.
Yeah.
But I also kind of give you, a preview of the book. So that's, it's really helpful because I found a lot of books that are useful to me this way, and where I keep finding books like, oh, that book keeps coming up. And it has a lot of good information in it, and I need to buy that book probably. So I'll put it on my list and buy it. But usually I'm going to click on books because it has my books, all the books that I've bought that I have access to. Basically, this is the library that I've said this is my library, and these are things that I like These are resources that I've chosen because I like what they have to say. Maybe I agree with their theology, right? And it's also resources I've gotten through school and also free resources, right? But everything, right? So this is my whole library. Maybe I want to look in the books that I have open. Okay. So,
Mm-hmm.
like the books that I have for my class,
Right.
I may want to look in those. Or maybe I already have things open that I'm kind of researching in, but I want to see what they have to say about this particular thing. Print library, if you have that option. These are books that I've scanned, but Logos, I don't own them in Logos software. I have a print copy, which is helpful because then I can go and let me see. Let's do this search because I'll show you how to do this real quick. It'll tell me right here. Okay, I own this book, my print library, and I need to go to page 98 to find the information, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is handy if you have books in your print library. I love this feature. Um, a couple years ago, I upgraded what version I had of Logos just because of this feature.
Yeah.
So if you've been doing this for, doing Bible study for a while and you have a bunch of books in print, you don't want to get rid of those books. You love your books, but you also don't want to have to page through stuff and try to find information. This is so, so helpful. I can also So I also have a couple things that I've already pre-made. So like if I want to look in commentaries that have been published since 1990, um, or maybe like one of my classes says you can't look, you need to only use resources from the past 10 years. Okay, well I've got one right here for 2015. I can use that. Um, and these are all resources that I own that have been printed within this date, and so I know that the teacher will accept those
Yeah.
as,
Is this a
good
did you
citation.
say this is a collection that you created, or
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
a filter of your
Um,
resources?
so yeah, that's a good question. How did I make that? It's probably a collection.
Yeah. Okay.
It's been a
That
while since
tracks.
I've done it. Yeah, so it's probably a collection that I made just and I just used where is collections?
Yeah, it's in there in that
Is it in here?
right in there. Yep. If you type there it
There we
is.
go. Okay. Yeah, so here we go. Different collections I made. Commentaries of pub date. So I
Wow.
just used this, and this was I got this information through the group. One of the guys in the group on how to do this on Facebook.
Yeah.
So join the Facebook group.
Absolutely.
Just ask somebody like, how do I? Is there a way to do this? And they said, oh yes, try this. Um, right. So I typed in pub date colon greater than 1990. And then I want to only have commentaries. So I typed and type commentary. Now I might also want to have one for journals, right? Or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can do this, and it's going to show everything. It's going to put everything that meets that qualification in that collection, and then you use that collection for searches. Okay. So I want to use my pub date. There we go. I know that that's going to give me the parameters I need. Of course, I can do, see what I have as far as I can like anything with commentary, or maybe I want to search within a certain resource. Here's the Didaki, a book on the Didaki. Oh, I could use that. I just typed in whatever comes up for
Yeah.
here. But if there's a certain resource I want to look in, I can also do a search in a certain resource. So, like, my main resource for this class is from Padilla, the Acts of the Apostles. So maybe I just want to look in this resource and see what he has to say about it,
Yeah.
right? And so I can do that. And I'm not going to do it right now. I'm just going to leave it as it is. But because I want to show you. So when I typed in this, it gives me a nice synopsis on the smart search, right? Let me get this back out of here. So it gives me this synopsis, which is great. It gives me a little bit of information and it gives me citations, and I'm like, oh, well, let me see more about that. And when I click on that, it's going to open that resource and it's going to highlight. Now, this is a little bit imperfect, okay, because we know AI is not. It's kind of new, so it is slightly imperfect, but it is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll give it that. It's pretty good, and I use it a lot. So, um, and it's going to highlight stuff and can read a little bit more, and maybe you'll see this, but then you see some other stuff down here that's like, oh, that's really helpful. This is information I didn't think about that's really helpful, and I should, it's helpful for what I'm studying here. And it gives all of these, and these are like the main resources that it's using. There's not that I know of, there's not a rhyme or reason why it uses certain resources as the top 5 or however
Yeah.
many. It usually doesn't go past 5, I don't think. But you can also, like I said, you can change up here, how, what parameters using
Yeah.
collections that you want it to do. Because maybe you're like, I don't like these resources that it's pulling up. I want something else
Right.
that I know is going to be better. But down here, it has a lot of things, and you can just go through all the rest of the results to see what information you have, and maybe you'll see like a certain resource that's they're using that one a lot.
Mm-hmm.
This one, there's something in the charts. Okay, so that one might be interesting. So I can click on that, right, and I can see what the charts have to say on that one. So there's a lot of different ways of doing this. Searches is going to be when you want information. For me, I'm going to start in the word studies a lot of times, but then the searches is going to give me a lot of more information besides just like the Bible word study.
Yeah.
There's the other way of doing a search, because you got smart and then you got precise. Now, when you're doing precise, you can't ask a question. This is not going to work for you. You can, but there's no telling what you're going to get. So I'm going to do a precise word study. And let me go back to my Ezekiel thing right here. I want to do a precise search. I said word study. A precise search for Ezekiel 1, verse 4. So I'm going to type in. Why is it not showing me?
It's thinking.
It's not showing me what I want. There we go. It's down here. All right. So I want only things that have this Bible reference. Okay. So this little red banner thing is your Bible reference for Ezekiel. So let me click right there, chapter 1, and I want verse 4. There's a lot of ways you can do this, but this is one way.
Yeah.
All right, so there we go. I'm looking up Ezekiel 1, verse 4, and I have it sorted by count, and I have it grouped by book. This is the way I found is best to do it, because then I can see which books have the most results. So this is a commentary by Block. It's a great commentary. And then here's a reference work that's going to have stuff. So if you know which kind of resources you have, you'll kind of know from your search when you're doing this, like which ones are the best to look at. This one, look, it says 47 articles. Do I
Mm-hmm.
really want to go through all 47 articles and find it? Probably not, okay? But okay, this commentary ought to be pretty good. I might want to pull up his commentary, um, and find it. Here's another. Oh, well, what's this one? This one's by Block as well, and it's a special book he wrote on Ezekiel. And oh, well, that's interesting. 49 results. Oh, I don't know how many articles it is. And then
Yeah,
so
you'd
I
have
might
to
want to go.
limit by that particular book probably to get that sort of
Yeah.
detail. Yeah.
So you might want to go through here and look at things, and and sometimes this is a little bit slow.
Yeah.
And why does Enoch talk about Ezekiel? Oh, that might be interesting if you haven't looked at Enoch. So there's just different ways of doing this. What I really like to do is I like to find something that has a lot of results, especially if I'm going to look, and let me look in journals. Let's see. Let me look in all the journals. What I really like to do is find journal articles that have a lot of results in one article. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this one right here is going to be handy. Probably. Okay. Yeah, this one has a lot of information. So this is going to be super helpful because it's an article written only on this on Ezekiel, right?
Right.
So 9 results in 2, maybe that's okay. 7 results in 1, that one's probably going to be good. He's talking about a vision of Ezekiel. Okay, great. So these are ways that I'm doing searches. The precise search, and you might want to use other things too. You might want to say like Ezekiel 1:4, and then we're going to add and Zaphon. That was an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just do that. All right. 50 results in 2 articles. What? Okay. Maybe I need to read this. This one's got 43 mentionings in it. That's probably by Block. No, that's by Klein. Okay. So,
It's very precise.
right, yeah. So, like, oh, man, that's exactly what I needed. Okay,
Right.
I wanted to find this, and that gave me the results. This is going to be excellent for my research because I found this thing and it was weird, and so I'm trying to make sense of it. Let me see what these guys have to say, and it may not be, what's normal, like the north. That's just like normal, right? There's a storm coming out of the north, no big deal. But maybe this author certainly thinks that there's more going on here than
Yeah.
just that, which I completely agree with him on that. So so that's a really helpful way of doing that. You can combine lots of different words. You can put Hebrew words in there, you can put Greek. There's so many ways you can do things with your searches when you're doing a precise search. But you're going to get really different results doing precise search and smart search. Like smart search, I don't even know what this is going to turn up. The same thing because this is quoted. But maybe if I just take this out, and I say, take out the word and what does
Any articles about Ezekiel 1 and
Ezekiel
yeah.
say about Zaphon? Okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes actually the question mark at the end will make a difference too.
There you go.
Oh man, look at that.
But you have
207.
looks like is that precise?
This is
Did you want to jump to
that's on
smart
precise.
or
I'm
no?
supposed to be doing smart. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do. It changed to
There you go.
precise because I had the quotes and stuff on there.
Yeah.
It'll automatically change it, I found, which is maybe good. Yeah, so this is gonna give me the summary, right? And then it's
There
gonna
we
give
go.
me those books. Here's one I didn't even use before because I don't recognize his name. That would have been helpful for me.
Which one's
Um,
that?
Domaris.
Okay.
It's like, oh, like, yeah,
Yeah.
Klein, I did. I know Klein when I was studying this, but this imagery draws on sacred mountains. Oh, well, what's he have to say about sacred mountains? Um, maybe it's helpful, maybe it's not. But then you can also, again, go down here. So the 2 search options, precise and smart, and I'm only searching journals apparently.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't get that many results.
I was gonna say as we are comparing these two, if there's confusion, if you click the 3 dots, I
These,
would jump the 3, yeah, on that one there. There's like a help about this tool. And that's a great way,
mm,
especially with precise search, to like get a handle on what the searches can do and how to make them more refined. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, so I usually leave up a lot of searches, like I'm doing stuff and I'm like checking out a bunch of things, and sometimes I'll think of like, oh, maybe I should have worded it this way, or maybe I should have searched for this thing right here. And so I'll open like a bunch of searches a lot of times. I'm
Yeah.
horrible for having 1,000 tabs open. But these are the two different ways. If you're looking for Bible passages, Smart Bible Search might give better results. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or you can look in your Bible. And that's really good too. If you're kind of new, right, um to Bible study in general, you heard, maybe you're listening to a podcast or watching a video, or you read something somewhere, your pastor said something. Just looking up in the Bible is really helpful
Yeah.
too, right? You can just say like,
Yeah.
oh
Quick
yeah, what is the
questions and quick searches in the Bible.
oh well, they brought up some things that might be helpful, right?
Yeah.
And you can do, different versions. I don't know why I have those two up.
Yeah.
So those are helpful. I like to do the morph search, but you're going to have to start getting into a little bit more of the languages there. That's going to be a little bit more advanced. But if someone's already used to using languages, then they can use the morph search as well. Except I have it on the wrong thing. Um, and
Yeah.
one way of
That's good
doing,
stuff.
yeah, there's so many things. Like we could talk for hours on this.
We could dig
Hopefully,
into Morph Search on a whole nother interview probably, and you could walk me through how to do a syntax or morph.
yeah, yeah,
But this has been good. It's a good flyover of all the ways that you've been using Logos, and then the word studies, the passage guide, how you get a handle on what different resources and lexical or reference materials, what they say about um, different linguistics. I think that this has been a great flyover of that side, and then like really practical uses of how to use search in both smart and precise. So yeah, I think it's been stellar.
excellent.
Yeah.
You want me to stop sharing or
Yeah, I mean,
okay?
but as you do, I mean, I really appreciate just the way that you've been using it, and even pulling up your own document and then like working with your research document. Like it's just great to see like real life examples and not just like support articles or help articles and how something could be used. So
Yeah, yeah, and that I mean that's I'm doing that kind of stuff like all the time. So
I love it.
there's a lot more, and it's Logos is like, it seems like this big huge beast, but you just learn like one little bit of it, like let me learn how to do a word study,
Right.
right? And you just do that and get used to how that works, and then it's
Yeah.
like, well, then you'll have like an idea of, well, can I do this? Usually the answer is yeah. Usually the answer is like, yeah, you can do that. There's something that you if you think of it, you can probably do it because someone else has thought about it, and
But
then you can
I
just
think you're right
add the
about the
tools.
group. I think you're right about the Facebook group as
Yeah,
well. And there's like, I mean, the community, Logos community, there's actual forums, or if you get confused and hung up, just contact support through the
yeah,
website. But like people get scared and then close it and then don't open it anymore. Like you said, you did for a little while. You were like, I had Logos for a bit and I didn't really dig in. And so just play with it, poke around, and then like ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah, this has
people
been
are
good,
super
Brandon.
helpful. The groups are in the forums, like you said, man. I started off like just asking questions, and
Yeah.
then I found myself answering questions, right?
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate your time, and I do. I hope the best for your studies and the ministry work that you get to do, teaching at home and working with the church in that
Yeah.
way. So I just ask blessing on your ministry and your
Thank you.
schoolwork and your family as well. So keep up the good work, man.
Yeah, well, great. I hope this is very helpful to people.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, Brandon.